qualified new foundation for extremism and plots to overthrow the government. Why people gathering to undertake an activity linked to Hinduism and Buddhism should cause concern is beyond us. Maybe they plan to strike when we are most relaxed. Oh, Russia. Here's a couple of videos that we think you might like. And don't forget to click the subscribe button. Hey, thanks. Shocking facts about McDonald's. Mass employment. 1 in 8 people have worked for the fast food chain. When you consider the world's population, that is a lot of people who started out in this job. But this also means that McDonald's is a pretty high turnover rate, and that the employees that are there right now are most likely on their way out. Chemicals and drugs. McDonald's is so big now that it can't keep up with the fast food production of their food to meet demand. Recently, it's been discovered that there are trace amounts of chemicals and drugs in McDonald's food. For example, the bread contains ammonium sulfate, which assists in the mass production of bread. Chicken McNuggets, in fact, contain silicone oil, which is what contacts are made of, and finally, a lethal chemical additive known as TBHQ can be found in 18 of McDonald's food items. Lucky food. McDonald's feeds about 68 million people per day, which is more than the population of the United Kingdom. Along with feeding millions of people every day, they also make about $75 million each day as well. The salads that are worse than hamburgers. When McDonald's announced they were going to start selling salads, health enthusiasts rejoiced because they could get a healthy meal at a drive-thru. However, the salads are just a ruse, as they are much more fattening than a hamburger. Why? You have dressing, cheeses, nuts, and all the other additions to the dish. Hamburger University. If you're an employee at McDonald's and you want to move up the ranks to restaurant manager, then you'll have to attend Hamburger University, located near Chicago, Illinois. There, you learn the ins and outs of McDonald's business. At the end of your training, you earn a bachelor's degree in hamburgerology, or not. The largest toy. McDonald's is the world's largest toy distributor thanks to their Kid Meal, also known as Happy Meals. Each Happy Meal comes with a toy, the latest movie, video game, or new product. Sometimes, toys are so popular that parents will flock to different McDonald's and turn the children's toys into collector's items. Richer than the third world. Yes, you read that right. McDonald's is richer than numerous third world countries. The company gets about $27 million in revenue each year. Even the McDonald's in the poorer countries manage to pull in about $8.7 billion. People in India have to work 6 hours in order to make enough money to buy a Big Mac. So that tells you the dedication of these people. Waste of resources. McDonald's is the largest purchaser of beef, pork, and chicken and ends up serving billions of pounds of food per year. McDonald's went under fire several years ago after a photo of pig goo went viral once people realized that that was what chicken McNuggets were made from. It takes about 7 million pounds of grain to feed 1 million cattle, with no replacement for the loss of the meat coming at a fast rate. McDonald's customers consume over 1 billion pounds of beef per year, which equals to over 5 million cattle. Celebrity employees. Some of McDonald's previous employees include some of Hollywood starlets like Sharon Stone, Pink, Jay Leno, Rachel McAdams, and Shania Twain. So next time you're rude to your cashier, think for a moment that they might be more famous than Jesus. According to a recent survey conducted by the Sponsorship Research Foundation, 88% of people could recognize the golden arches of McDonald's, and only 54% could recognize the cross, which represents the Christian religion. Thus, this makes Ronald McDonald more iconic than Jesus Christ.
Holy
shit. I hope you
shit.
enjoyed, and maybe were slightly disturbed by this video. Here's a couple of things we think you might like. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks.
I hope so.
Bestiality, also known as zoophilia, there is technically no federal law against having sex with animals, but in several states it is considered anything between a misdemeanor and felony. In states like Texas and Alabama, there is no clear law on bestiality. Corporal punishment. There are 19 laws in the United States that still allow public schools to hit kids, also known as corporal punishment. Spanking and hitting kids used to be accepted by many more than just these 19 states. But given that people would like to take this disciplinary action too far, laws were formed to stop the abuse. As long as you discipline within the guidelines of corporal punishment, you are not committing a crime. Flamethrowers. It's interesting to note that the United States enforces laws on drugs and guns, but flamethrowers are totally legal. These lethal weapons can create mass destruction by creating walls of fire. Perhaps it's the government's way of using natural selection to rule out the less intelligent or the weaker victims. You can buy a flamethrower today if you wanted to. Tanks. Speaking of weapons of mass destruction, if you have $40,000 in your bank account, you can buy a tank. Technically speaking, tank ownership isn't legal. The catch is that you just can't go around destroying private and public property, and of course killing and injuring people is off the table. Nudity. Being topless is legal in 33 states in the United States. However, this act comes with a catch. As long as you're not disturbing the peace or making your topless activities sexual, then it is alright. However, these restrictions can be objective, and if someone is aroused by another woman being topless, then there might be a problem. The nudity laws vary all over the world, and if you want to bear it all, just check in with that country's laws first. Flashing lights. Flashing your headlights goes back and forth between being legal and illegal. In numerous states, they have been recently outruling laws that make the practice illegal. Essentially, there's when police are around, thus preventing any new tickets or pullovers. Cannibalism is a gray area, but it is technically legal. It all comes down to the matter in which you obtain the body parts that you consume. It is illegal if you commit a murder in order to eat your victim. But if you have a friend who died while you're stranded on a desert island, or they willingly chop off their arm for you to eat, then you have committed no crime. Radar detectors. There was a lot of controversy about a decade ago about whether or not radar detectors were legal. In many states and countries, they are. Radar detectors basically alert you if there's a cop nearby, so you won't get pulled over for speeding or some other illegal activity that you might be doing. What is illegal are radar jammers, which mess with police radars. Only one of these will land you in jail. Walking around high. While driving a motor vehicle under the influence is illegal, technically you can walk around high in public. This may come as a surprise for many people, but it does come with some side rules and tips. Basically, if you want to make sure that you're not being obnoxious or disturbing the peace, which will get you arrested. So, stay quiet and don't do anything to gather the cops' attention, and enjoy. We hope you enjoyed this new information.
Accidental inventions changed the world. Potato chips. The date was August 24th, 1853, when a pesky customer kept sending back his fried potatoes, complaining that they were too thick. George Crumb, the cook at Woods Lake House, got frustrated. He then decided to slice the potatoes razor thin, fry them to a crisp, and drench them in salt. To Crumb's surprise, the customer loved them, and potato chips were born. Microwaves. In 1945, one day at work, Harry Spencer, an American engineer, accidentally discovered the heating effect of a microwave bean because it melted the chocolate bar he had in his pocket. With this new insight, he began cooking food, first popcorn and then an egg, which exploded in the face of one of the experimenters. A few years later, the first available microwave oven was in stores. It was almost 6 feet tall and weighed 750 pounds. Popsicles.
Shit.
In 1905, 11-year-old Frank Epperson from San Francisco, California, accidentally invented popsicles. On one cold evening, Frank was stirring a mixture of powdered soda water with a stick and accidentally left it on the porch. He woke up to find the mixture frozen to the stick. He called it the Exicle, but later he sold the rights to a company named Joe Low in New York City. X-rays. German physicist Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen accidentally discovered X-rays in 1895. He was working with a cathode ray tube in his laboratory. He noticed a fluorescent glow on a table nearby. He then covered the tube with heavy black paper and discovered that a green-colored light was still being emitted. He then discovered that the ray could pass through the tissue of humans, but not bones nor metal. He then proved this by taking photos of his wife's hand. His discovery was labeled a scientific and medical miracle. Superglue. This incredibly sticky substance was originally discovered in 1942 by Dr. Harry Hoover. He was attempting to make clear plastic gun sights for soldiers in World War II, and noticed that one of his failed formulas was an extremely powerful glue. Surprisingly, Hoover abandoned his discovery as it wasn't suitable for his current project. Over 15 years passed before superglue was finally put on the market by his employer, Eastman Kodak. Velcro. In 1948, a Swiss engineer by the name of George de Mestral discovered Velcro when he took a close look at the burrs which kept sticking to his clothes and his dog's fur. Under a microscope, he noticed that they had tiny hooks. Realizing the potential of the burr's design, he set out to replicate it for commercial use. He first met with ridicule, but stuck to his idea, and almost a decade later, Velcro was selling worldwide. Post-it notes. In 1970, a chemist named Spencer Silver was working in a laboratory trying to develop a strong glue. Ironically, he did just the opposite and created a weak glue. He discovered that the glue was strong enough to hold paper together, but wouldn't rip when pulled apart. 4 years later, a friend used his glue to stick papers in his book, and the Post-it note was born. Today, it's one of the most popular office products available. Matches. Up until the first half of the 19th century, making fire was slow and tedious, but in 1826, a chemist named John Walker set out to change that. One day, while he was preparing a lighting fixture, a stick which had been dipped in accidentally caught fire when scraped on his fireplace. He went on to invent the first friction match. Unfortunately, Walker did not patent his invention, and as a result, Samuel Jones copied his idea and marketed them as lucifers. Viagra. This well-known pill was developed accidentally by scientists at Pfizer Laboratories. Dr. Brian Clee explains, originally, we were testing sildenafil, the active drug in Viagra, as a cardiovascular drug, and for its ability to lower blood pressure. But people didn't want to give the medication back because of the side effect of having erections that were harder, firmer, and lasted longer. Since its approval, Viagra has been used by 35 million men around the world. LSD. Albert Hofmann was a Swiss scientist trying to create a respiratory stimulant with no effects on the uterus. But on April 16, 1943, he accidentally absorbed a small quantity from his fingertips and discovered its powerful effects. He described what he felt. I lay down and sank into a not unpleasant, intoxicated-like condition, characterized by an extremely stimulated imagination. I perceived an uninterrupted stream of fantastic pictures, extraordinary shapes with intense, kaleidoscopic play of colors. On October 24, 1968, possession of LSD was banned in the United States, and the rest is history.
At only 16 years old, Andraka was able to discover a patent-pending method that's extremely inexpensive at detecting cancer in its very early stages. The method involves identifying a protein found in urine that indicates the presence of pancreatic, ovarian, and lung cancer. Louis Braille. Born in 1809 in Coupvray, France, Louis Braille endured an eye injury which left him blind at 3 years old and until his death at age 43. While studying at the Royal Institute of Blind Youth in Paris, he began to develop a system of reading by using raised dots in different series to express the alphabet. At only 19, he became a full-time teacher at the Royal Institute, teaching this groundbreaking form of communication in algebra, grammar, and geometry. Iqbal Nasim, sold into bonded child labor to a carpet industry in the Pakistani town of Muridke for the equivalent of about $12 US. Iqbal was forced to work 12-hour days. At 10 years old, he managed to escape to join the Bonded Labor Liberation Front of Pakistan. Afghanistan and managed to help free 3,000 Pakistani children. He was assassinated on Easter Monday in 1995, presumably by the Carpet Mafia. Anne Frank. After 2 years of her and her family hiding in various rooms in her father's office building,
Lo asesinan.
she was finally found and arrested, only to die of typhus 7 months into her imprisonment in the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp. Having become the most discussed Holocaust victim ever, Anne Frank has been acknowledged as a very eloquent and impressive writer. Ever since her father, Otto Frank, was able to have her entire diary published and translated in 67 different languages, it gained recognition as the most translated Dutch piece of writing ever. Elif Bilgin. At the age of 16, Elif Bilgin has come up with a groundbreaking form of bioplastics that will not decay rapidly. She experimented with fruit peels and discovered the high starch levels in the banana peels was the perfect candidate to begin to create her form of plastic, as starch is a key ingredient in the production of all plastic. Blaise Pascal. Child prodigy Blaise Pascal was only 12 years old when he developed the first ever calculator for his father, who was a tax collector. It was named the Pascaline, and was initially the size of a shoebox, and functioned using a series of toothed wheels turned by hand. For the record, Blaise also invented probability theory, the syringe, and even roulette. Malala Yousafzai. Known for her activism and involvement with rights to education and rights for women specifically in Swat Valley in Pakistan, Malala was growing up against the Taliban enforcing their rule of banning girls from going to school. At 15 years old, she endured a bullet wound to the head after defying Taliban orders, and upon recovery from a coma, she continued to insist that the United Nations send books and pens instead of battalions and grenades. At 17 years old, Malala became the youngest person ever to be given a Nobel Peace Prize. Claudette Colvin. At only 15 years old, Colvin raised her voice against segregation in 1955 when she refused to relinquish her seat on a segregated bus. Upon being arrested for this offense, she challenged the absurdity of this law in court, where it eventually led to a Supreme Court order to outlaw segregation on buses everywhere. Anne Makosinski. British Columbia's Anne Makosinski is a young inventor who was able to invent a flashlight that runs purely on the heat of the human hand alone. She used Peltier tiles for the thermoelectric component. When one side is heated and the other feels cool ambient air, electricity is conducted, and the flashlight was able to function perfectly without batteries. Boyan Slat. At only 19 years of age, Slat of the Netherlands came up with the Ocean Cleanup Array, processing platforms that collect floating plastic debris in our oceans. It's designed to only collect the rubbish, but avoid marine life like fish and plankton that will simply pass through and unharmed. His idea gained worldwide recognition due to his theory that his invention can clean up 20 billion tons of plastic from the world's oceans in only 5 to 10 years.
necessary products people buy. Justin Bieber floss. Justin Bieber is flossing, and now you can floss along with him. His shining, prepubescent face will smile at your dental hygiene. With no food in your teeth, he'll want you to be his girlfriend. The wine yoke. You hate holding your wine glass, and you hate setting it down. So now you can wear it and free up your hands for dancing with no chance of losing your glass as the evening goes on. Micro luggage scooter. Picking up luggage is boring and hard on your arms, but now you can ride your suitcase out of baggage claim because nothing screams first class like a suitcase scooter. iPod toilet paper dock. Need a way to get down to business in the bathroom with style? Don't browse your phone when you can blare sweet beats and let everyone know just how you handle your business. Country class baby bottle. If your baby is a redneck, chances are he won't take a regular bottle. The country class bottle will bring a touch of down home into your life. It's Jeff Foxworthy endorsed, so you know it's a real deal. Glowing toilet seat. Having trouble finding the toilet in the middle of the night? Use this glowing toilet seat to light your way to relief and never have an accident in your home again. Talking Smurf toothbrush. Have you ever wanted your toothbrush to talk to you? Well, now you've got your Smurf and Wish, and you can hear the voice of Smurfette while you brush.
Oh, fuck.
NFL Forest Faces. Do you know how squirrels feel about your favorite NFL team? Show your support by decorating the tree in your front lawn and teach the squirrels a lesson about the best team, your team. Hitch critters. If you love hauling stuff but hate the unsightly hitch, cover it up with a hitch buddy in the animal of your choosing and say goodbye to embarrassing hitches with an adorable cover. Bigfoot the garden statue. If you're larger than life, a simple pink flamingo won't do. Adorn your lawn with a larger-than-life Bigfoot statue and watch out for jealousy from the Homeowners Association.
Midnight Monk. Okay.
That only left-handed people understand. Ink smudges. Lefties are well aware that they can't write anything without ending up with ink smudges on their hands, not to mention usually losing whatever they just wrote down. You can actually purchase a smudge card that wraps around your hand so you don't end up with embarrassing ink stains. And the only problem is that the smudge card may be even more embarrassing than the smudges themselves. Scissors. If you're left-handed, scissors are your sworn enemy. It's almost impossible to find a pair of left-handed scissors wherever you are, and right-handed scissors do not work. Even if there was a pair of lefty scissors in the classroom, there was always more than just one left-handed student. Spiral notebooks. Another enemy of every left-handed out there, spiral notebooks. The writing material, your hand, left. smudges. Also, lefties have cheaper kind of notebooks, ones without spirals. On top of scissors and notebooks, most desks were designed for those lucky right-handers. Can openers. Outside of the classrooms and a couple of the most frustrating household object for a lefty is the dreaded can opener. It's rare to find a can opener that is designed for left-handed people. It's just one of those things that was not made for lefties in mind. Playing music. It is said that left-handed people are far more creative than right-handed people, but they also have a hard time being able to showcase this creativity. Musical instruments are almost always made for the right-handed person. Usually, lefties need to order instruments especially to suit their needs, which makes things more difficult and more expensive. It may be costly and harder to learn for left-handed, but don't worry too much. Beatles band member Paul McCartney is a lefty. You could always play the piano, the most unbiased instrument. Bumping elbows. Dinner parties are excruciatingly awkward for left-handed people. Not only do you find yourself accidentally breaking your neighbor's drink, you're always constantly bumping elbows with them every time you lift your fork. Left-handed people also always have to rearrange the cutlery that was set for them. Something as simple as dinner shouldn't be such a huge stress on a person, but that's what left-handers need to deal with. Nobody wants to sit beside a lefty, except for maybe another lefty. Credit cards. Even paying for things is tough when you're left-handed. Swiping your credit card is extremely challenging because systems are designed for right-handed people. The swipe function is placed on the right side of the machine, and luckily for lefties everywhere, the new touch-and-go way to pay with your credit card saves them from struggling with payments at the register and looking foolish. Playing cards. Another type of card that frustrates lefties is playing cards. The numbers on playing cards are on the left-hand side of the card because left-handers tend to hold their cards in their right hand so they can play with their dominant hand. The numbers are covered. It's frustrated lefties for ages. It's a small annoyance, but one that can throw off your game and make you lose to a right-hander. Zippers. Life was hard enough for a left-handed person before the invention of the zipper. Even getting dressed holds its own set of challenges thanks to the manufacturers of the zipper, who cruelly decided to make things difficult for the average lefty and place the zipper underneath the fabric on the left-hand side of your pants. This forces left-handers to unzip using their right hand, which has caused lots of accidents and emergency toilet situations.
Oh shit.
Useless body parts. The appendix. This tiny pinky-sized pouch protruding off of your large intestine was once used to aid digestion. Jam-packed with bacteria, it can become infected and lead to an extremely lethal condition called appendicitis. None of the 300,000 people a year in the United States have had it surgically removed have died from not having an appendix. Tail bones. At the base of our spine, there are bones for a tail, used for balance with our ancestors, and now not needed as we walk upright. This new bone is comprised of 3 to 5 vertebrae called a coccyx. And since the base of the spinal cord runs through the coccyx, if injured, your tailbone is now nothing more than a literal pain in the ass. Extrinsic ear muscles. Humans still have the ear muscles once needed to move ears independently of the head, much like how dogs and rabbits do. These muscles are now used to wiggle our ears and are now completely unneeded unless you're trying out for America's Got Talent. Wisdom teeth. The human jaws become smaller over time, and as wisdom teeth come into our adult lives, they can cause more than pain, slowly breaking existing teeth in our jaws if not removed. Only 5% of people can use the extra set of teeth, but for toothpaste and dental floss, molars would fall out and wisdom teeth were there as nice little backups. Quite wise, after all. Erector pili and body hair. They were once used to push our body hair up, making us look bigger and more threatening, useful when our ancestors were fighting little muscle burns can cause goosebumps. We live without that. These thin tissues that act as the throat are infected and causing pain. Once removed, our bodies live on. The one upside is they shrink, thus lowering the chances of them being infected. Plica semilunaris, aka the third eyelid. The pink part of your eye closest to your nose was once used for more than an area just still be seen on animals like crocodiles. Male nipples. All humans start out in the womb as females. Not until the Y chromosome kicks in and induces testosterone do females turn into males. The nipples are just strange little reminders of this phenomenon.
Oh shit.
Science.
The fuck?
These giant empty spaces in our head have no real known purpose. It is thought that they help insulate the eyes and aid in voice pitch and tone changes. However, we do know they are prone to infection and cause massive headaches. Pinky toes. Modern man can stand upright using just the big toe. The 3 other toes down the line help to maintain balance, and while the pinky toe can just go wee 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 all the way off the foot, and no one would really ever notice. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more awesome science videos like this one, check out our friend Nick at Nickopedia, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel.
I'm gonna shoot straight with you. Yawning is one aspect of science that has so many theories.
People with oversized body parts. Adrienne Lewis. Adrienne Lewis has an extra long tongue and can pretty much touch nearly every part of her face, including her elbows, thanks to its length. As of May 2015, she's been in talks with Guinness World Book of Records to verify whether she has the longest tongue in the world or not. She also has her own YouTube channel and Twitter account where she shows off her skills using her long, long tongue.
Shit.
Christina Rey. Christina Rey was on a mission to look exactly like the cartoon character Jessica Rabbit. One of the animated bombshell's signature looks is her plump, luscious lips. After over 100 silicone injections, Rey now has the biggest lips in the world. She shows no sign of stopping the injections. Wonder how long it will take for her lips to pop.
Yeah. Ew.
Svetlana Pankratova. Svetlana Pankratova has the world's longest legs of any woman in the world, according to the Guinness World Book of Records. Her legs alone are 4 feet 4 inches long, which makes her about 6 feet 5 inches tall overall. Along with her long legs, she also wears a size 13 shoe. Sydney V. Smith. Sydney V. Smith was inspired by Cambodian tribes as well as her love for giraffes to start training her neck to be the longest in the world. She is well on her way, even if she's using an age-old custom tradition in an incorrect way. Smith started training her neck in 2011, and it currently measures at 11 inches long, being held up by coil rings. Raheem Takiula. Raheem Takiula has the largest feet in the world, with his right foot measuring at 1 foot 2.76 inches, and his left foot measuring 1 foot 3 inches. Takiula is from Morocco and currently lives in Paris, France. He also holds the Guinness World Record for having the largest feet. Francisco Domingo Monkey. Francisco Domingo Monkey is nicknamed the Angolan Jaw of Awe because he is known for having the world's widest mouth. He became famous after videos of him sticking large objects into his mouth went viral on YouTube. He can fit a can of soda in his mouth, as well as over half of a foot-long sub-sandwich. Mehmet Ozurek. Mehmet Ozurek has the world's longest nose, measuring in at 3.5 inches when it was measured in March of 2010. He is currently living in art picture, and he seems to live a pretty normal life away from the spotlight. Matthew McRory. Matthew McRory has the world's biggest big toe, measuring at over 5 inches. The condition was a result of elephantitis, and he was also over 7 feet tall. McRory had a successful career as an actor, playing giants mainly. He died in 2005 at the age of 32. Annie Hawkins Turner, also known as Norma Stitz. Annie Hawkins Turner has the largest natural breasts in the world. Her under breast measurement is 43 inches and her chest over nipple measurement is over 70 inches. Turner's development started when she was 9 and she has never stopped growing. Today, her bra size is 51I and has held her title since the year 2000.
Shit. God
We
damn.
hope you found this video interesting. Here are a couple other videos that we think you might like. And don't you dare forget to click that subscribe button. Thanks.
Fuck.
10 women you won't believe exist. The tiniest woman in the world. Jyoti Amji stands just a little taller than a bottle of soda, and she is the tiniest woman in the world. She is only 2 feet 6 inches tall and was born with a condition called achnoplasia, which is a type of dwarfism. Jyoti is the record holder for the tiniest woman in the world and is fairly lucky with her proportional body. Most people with achondroplasia are disproportional and don't live comfortably. Erica Irvin. Erica Irvin is one of the tallest transgender female working models living today, known as Amazon Eve. She is 6 feet 8 inches tall and has graced the covers of many mainstream fashion magazines. However, life wasn't as rosy as it may seem now. Growing up, Erica was extremely self-conscious about her height and even tried extreme weight loss regimens in order to get herself down to a size 0. The attempt nearly killed her, and a lesson was learned. Today, Erica is a personal trainer and is devoted to help others improve their body image. You might even recognize her from American Horror Story Freak Show. The Queen of Hearts. Kathy Jung has been constantly wearing a corset for 12 years in the pursuit of obtaining the tiniest waist. Through her corset adventure, she's been able to remove several inches from her waist and go down to a 15-inch waist. She wears her corset 24 hours a day. Known as the Queen of Hearts, Kathy has achieved fame for breaking the world record of having the tiniest waist. Asha Mandela. Asha Mandela is a real-life Rapunzel with hair over 19 feet long. In 2008, she broke the record of having the longest hair in the world. This amazing feat took over 25 years of development after Asha was diagnosed with cancer. Amazingly enough, she was able to maintain her hair despite chemotherapy treatments. Asha keeps her hair in dreadlocks for easy maintenance. Largest hips.
Dang.
Mikhail Raffaelli was a normal-sized woman at 5'4" and weighing around 180 pounds. Then she gave birth to her first child and gained about 56 pounds from the pregnancy. As she continued to have more children, her hips continued to grow each time. Today, Mikhail's hips measure at a circumference of around 8 feet. Her waist measures at around 3 feet 4 inches. To maintain her record figure, Mikhail eats around 5,000 calories per day. Annetta Florczyk. Annetta Florczyk is known as the strongest woman in the world and has won the world's strongest woman competition more times than any other competitor. She was born in Poland in 1982 and has also done well in other sports competitions like figure skating. The powerlifter can lift full-grown men over her head. How's that for girl power for you? The Illustrated Lady. Julia Gnusse was living a normal and ink-free life until she was 35 and was diagnosed with porphyria, which is a condition where sunlight causes the blistering of the skin. The blisters then turn into permanent scars. A friend of Gnussia's suggested that she get tattoos to cover up the scars. The result led to Gnussia getting 95% of her body tattooed, and she is a world record holder for being the most tattooed woman in the world. Mandy Sellars. Mandy Sellars was born with a rare genetic mutation that causes her leg to be abnormally large and misshapen. At the age of 7, doctors recommended that one of her legs be amputated, but her mother refused in order to extend her life and live as normally as possible. For her single large foot, Sellars has custom footwear made so that her foot is protected. In 2010, Sellars had the other leg amputated in order to stop growth, but it continued anyway. Her condition is the result of a PIK3CA gene mutation. Maria Cristerna. Maria Cristerna wanted to prove to herself and the world that she was a strong woman. After dealing with a failed marriage and years of domestic abuse, Maria got her face tattooed and pierced, plus horn-like implants in her forehead. She is nicknamed the Dragon Lady and is also a professional lawyer. But Maria is more than just appearances. She works with women trying to escape domestic abuse and uses the attention she receives for good. Beijing. Also known as Mayara Hills, this German adult model claims to have the largest breasts in the world, each weighing around 20 pounds and a bra size of 32C. Looking at Beijing, there's no doubt that she had some work done, and her breasts were enlarged using implants and saline solutions. She compares her experience of having large breasts to carrying toddlers or tires on her chest. Recently, she revealed that her breasts now weigh around 36 pounds each. She loves the attention, and her only tryst about her bust size is finding clothes that fit her. We hope you enjoyed this small sample of some truly incredible women. Here are some other videos that you might like. Don't forget to subscribe.
We needed it yesterday.
I know. We just need to localize it for the Portuguese market. Okay, I'll have Fabio on it as soon as Lisbon wakes up.
Well, perfect then. Have a great Monday.
It's Tuesday here, but thank you.
The 10 sexiest criminals. Jeremy Meeks. Starting us off as possibly the poster child for sexiest criminals everywhere. Arrested in June 2014, Jeremy Meeks' mugshot turned heads and quickly went viral. Arrested during a gang sweep in Stockton, California, police describe Meeks as one of the most violent criminals in the area who will spend the next 2 years behind bars. With his chiseled jaw and captivating blue eyes, most people quickly overlook this fact and simply know him as one of the sexiest criminals ever. There were even rumors that various modeling agencies were fighting it out to see who would be the ones to dress this dangerous Don Juan for his court date. Megan McCullough. In July 2010, this mother of 4 was arrested on a DUI in Tampa, Florida. Still drunk, tired, and having spent most of the night crying over her arrest, Megan McCullough had no idea that 3 years later, her mugshot would attract so much attention and marriage proposals. Now going by the name of Megan Simmons, the famous picture was quickly turned into a meme as men everywhere became infatuated with her. Not put off by all the attention, the woman known as the attractive criminal has put those dark days behind her, even if her mugshot continues to generate quite a bit of interest. Angela Coates. What do you get when you mix a glamour model with a crime? Apparently a pretty hot criminal. Looking at the mugshot, it's hard to know that Angela Coates had been arrested for disorderly conduct. Instead, with her long hair, sharp eyebrows, and full lips, this Miami native looks like she's on a photo shoot, not about to be put behind bars. This former Jet Magazine Beauty of the Week so captivated anyone who saw a picture of her that offers for bail came flying in long after she'd been released from jail. Armie Hammer. Possession of a little marijuana may not seem like a major crime to you, but it gives us an excuse to include this next person in our ranks of sexy criminals. Armand Hammer is a Hollywood star who had appeared in such films as The Social Network, J. Edgar, and The Lone Ranger. In addition to appearing on the big screen, he's also appeared behind bars thanks to an arrest a few years ago. Hammer was picked up near the Mexican border while in possession of a small amount of marijuana. His mugshot looks like something out of a J. Crew catalog, which qualifies him for our sexy criminal status. Lorena Tavera. In 2008, Lorena Tavera was named Miss El Paso, Texas. Just a few years later, this pageant beauty was arrested for shoplifting a $69 shirt. While the crime may have been stupid, most people quickly forget it thanks to a rather sexy mugshot taken when Tavera was being booked in the El Paso jail. A quick look through her portfolio, and we're pretty sure most guys would gladly give this University of Texas student the shirt off their back, free of charge. Sean Corey. In late 2014, the arrest of Californian Sean Corey had everyone labeling him as a direct competition to Jason Meeks' status of sexiest criminal. Corey's arrest stems from a Halloween incident where he assaulted an individual at a party. After apparently shouting, "I hate Fox News," he repeatedly struck a partygoer with a tennis racket who was dressed up as a news reporter. Like Meeks, Corey posted a rather sexy mugshot, but also seems destined to be spending considerable time behind bars. Lindsay Evans. Remember that attractive blonde in Robin Thicke's video for the popular song Blurred Lines a couple years ago? It turns out she definitely qualified as one sexy criminal. Now known as Elle Evans, the model, actress, and Playboy playmate was arrested in 2008, just months after she finished as third runner-up in Miss Teen USA pageant. After a dinner out with friends, Evans allegedly thought it was a good idea to dine and dash. Unfortunately, she left her purse behind, which contained some marijuana. Stripped of her crown, this sexy criminal run into the law ended up not hurting her career one bit. Harry Pierpont. Even in the era of Prohibition, there were sexy criminals, as Harry Pierpont demonstrates. Pierpont is best known as being a friend and accomplice to the infamous John Dillinger. What makes Pierpont stand out is a string of violent crimes in the 1920s and 1930s, which left a trail of murder and bank robberies across the United States. In 1934, his luck ran out, and the former gangster was badly hurt in a jailbreak. Executed soon after, Pierpont is almost remembered as much for being an attractive gangster as he is for his string of crimes. Floyd Mayweather. American boxer Floyd Mayweather is considered one of the greatest fighters ever to live. Most of us are familiar with his exploits in the ring, but this good-looking boxer has a criminal past. Between 2002 and 2011, Mayweather had a string of run-ins with the law related to charges of battery and domestic violence. In addition to the rather fit physique everyone sees in the ring, the boxing legend's mugshots only further confirm that Floyd Mayweather is definitely one sexy criminal. Stephanie Beaudoin. 22-year-old Stephanie Beaudoin is labeled the sexiest criminal on earth. The Canadian nursing student first came into headlines when she was arrested on 114 counts related to home invasion, theft, and the illegal owning and storing of 9 firearms. Before her luck ran out, this present-day Catwoman had struck 42 homes. She gained further notoriety when pictures of her in a bikini were posted by a local paper. The combination of crime and sexy photos have caught the attention of many people all around the world. As one tweet so appropriately put it, Beaudoin will steal your heart, then your stuff. Thanks for watching this video. Here's a couple of the videos that we think you might like, and don't forget to click subscribe. 10 movie mistakes you totally missed. The movies listed ahead are some of our all-time favorites, but they also have some of the biggest mistakes. As you'll see, these massively popular films suffer from a variety of errors and goofs, which most of us miss the first time we watch them. From crew members being where they shouldn't be, to continuity errors, to mistakes of animation, these films show that even the blockbusters and classics aren't 100% perfect. Frozen. This animated film was one of the biggest hits of 2013, and if you have kids, you are probably a little tired of hearing the song, Let It Go. To be honest, there are a number of continuity mistakes with various objects disappearing from scene to scene. That said, it's actually during the scene where Elsa's performing the hit song that animators broke the law of physics, really getting into her performance. Elsa lets her hair down to belt out the tune. 1 second, her braid is down her back, and the next, it's somehow sliced right through her left arm to appear in front. Magical powers or not, this is one mistake that just doesn't make sense. Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Another smash hit movie that is full of small mistakes. It's such a long movie series with so many details and extras, there are bound to be a couple problems. In the scene where Pippin and Merry escape from Uruk-hai, there is one big continuity error. While crawling away from the fighting behind them, their hands are firmly tied. Then, when a horse almost comes crashing down on Pippin, his hands are magically free. Jurassic Park. Everyone loves mysterious lands, and everyone loves dinosaurs. That's why the 1993 film Jurassic Park was such a huge hit. For the time, it had such great special effects and numerous small goofs and errors to match. If you watch closely during the scene where the velociraptors are hunting the children in the kitchen, you may notice an out-of-place hand. When the raptor comes to the kitchen door, a crewman puts their hand on the creature's tail in order to steady it as it makes a grand entrance. It's not overly noticeable, but once you see it, you can never unsee it. Spider-Man. Definitely the movie that kicked off the whole comic book film resurgence. Spider-Man follows the character of Peter Parker while he balances his newfound superpowers with living a normal life. Entertaining to say the least. Spider-Man does have its share of mistakes. One of the most noticeable errors occurs during the scene where Peter is trying to use his web shooter in his bedroom. In the process, he catches a lamp and smashes it. Aunt May comes to see what is going on, and audiences find the very same lamp in the back on the dresser without any damage. The Shining. The film that gave a whole new meaning to the phrase, "Here's Johnny." The Shining is a horror movie loved by millions. Unfortunately, this Stanley Kubrick classic is also full of noticeable mistakes. For instance, the opening shot of the Overlook Hotel contains no hedge maze, just a parking lot. Yet in the film, the maze is clearly right beside the main building. As an added bonus, every shot of the maze, whether a model, map, or the real thing, is different and depicts a completely different layout. Commando. While Arnold Schwarzenegger films are action-packed, they also contain more than a few mistakes. In Commando, for instance, Arnold is desperately trying to stop a bad guy before he can send a message that will get his daughter killed. In the ensuing car chase, Arnold gets the bad guy but smashes up his bright yellow Porsche in the process. Undeterred, audiences watched as the hero hopped into the crumbled ride and drives off. The biggest problem? As Arnold drives off, the Porsche has somehow fixed itself and there's not a scratch to be seen. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Indiana Jones is one of the most iconic film characters of all time. Moviegoers are so fond of this series of films that they are willing to overlook the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull's existence, and the fact that the character of Indiana Jones is largely inconsequential to the storyline of Raiders. Nonetheless, there is one mistake that some people can't let go of. Great effort was put into making a Tanzanian town look like Cairo in the 1930s. It was all thrown out the window when an extra wearing a t-shirt and blue jeans walked to the scene where Indy is sitting at a table with his monkey. Gladiator. The movie that put Russell Crowe on the map. Gladiator follows the exploits of a Roman general who is forced into slavery and fights to avenge the murder of his family. The movie had grand battle scenes and considerable effort put into costume and scenery. Despite all the visual work, there are several noticeable mistakes that film buffs love to point out. For instance, during the Colosseum races, one chariot spikes the wall and flips, landing on its side. A cover falls away from what is clearly a compressed air cylinder meant to help the chariot flip over. Red Dragon. In 2002, Red Dragon reintroduced us to psychotic murderer and cannibal Dr. Hannibal Lecter in a prequel of the films Silence of the Lambs and Hannibal. Those of you paying close attention would have noticed a mistake when Agent Will Graham was going through the lead's house. When he opens the drawer full of movies, did you see the copy of Mrs. Doubtfire? Red Dragon is set sometime in the 1980s, but definitely before 1991. Mrs. Doubtfire was released in 1993, which means the prop people who goofed or the leads were capable of time travel. Star Wars. George Lucas's 1977 sci-fi film is considered one of the most culturally significant films of the last 50 years. Considering when it was made, the special effects are pretty good, and it's one of those movies you can watch over and over and over again. That said, it has mistakes. Probably one of the most famous occurs on the Death Star when stormtroopers enter a room looking for Luke, Han, and Chewbacca. If you look closely, the door to the room never opened up enough, leading one stormtrooper to smack his head. Unable to use CGI to edit that goof out, Lucas opted to embrace the mistake by adding an audible thunk in future releases of the film. Thanks for watching. If you want to see other movie mistakes, bloopers, and facts about popular films and TV shows, check out our good friends at Screen Rant, and don't forget to subscribe to their channel. Thanks! From watching porn and Rugrats to biker lesbian women eating carpet and cow and chicken, get ready to have your childhood ruined. Here are some of the most inappropriate jokes that went over our heads when we were kids. Inappropriate adult jokes in kids shows. SpongeBob SquarePants. At the beginning of one of the episodes of the hit series SpongeBob SquarePants, we see the yellow sponge enjoying some of what seems to be innocent television about undersea critters. But after he's interrupted by his pet snail Gary, gauge from SpongeBob's reaction, he was actually watching porn. Batman the Animated Series. In the 1990s show, Batman the Animated Series, in the episode Beware the Creeper, we see Harley Quinn emerge from a large pie covered in pudding while singing a happy anniversary song in the style of Marilyn Monroe. And at the end, she says, "Want to try some of my pie?" Animaniacs. The Warner Brothers show, Animaniacs, is filled with
Shit.
so many adult jokes that you can't pin down just one. From the sexy nurse to Wacko making references to getting excited and flashes of women's underwear, it's hard to believe that the show was on daytime television that was targeted to children in the first place. Rugrats. In an episode of Nickelodeon's Rugrats, Grandpa is babysitting Tommy and Chucky and showing them movies they can watch for the night. Then Grandpa introduces Lonely Space Vixens, a personal favorite of his, and then tells the kids, but that's for after you go to bed. The Powerpuff Girls. The Powerpuff Girls was a delightful cartoon on Cartoon Network that targeted young girls as their audience. In one episode, the girls bring a friend home to introduce the professor and tell her that they were made by accident. The girl then says, "It's okay, Professor. I was an accident too." Cow and
shit.
Chicken. In the 7th
Oh,
episode
shit.
of Season 2 of Cow and Chicken, the pair are visited by the Buffalo Gals, a female biker group that breaks into people's homes. What do they do exactly? Well, they eat carpet, making them carpet munchers. The regular show. The regular show airs on Cartoon Network, and they subtly snuck in an adult joke in the form of a flyer that they may have hoped would have gone unnoticed. As the characters try to distribute a flyer to a passerby, the person ducks underneath the sheet. This gives us a close-up of the flyer, which says, "Suck my morticog." Ed, Ed, and Eddie. Ed, Ed, and Eddie aired on Cartoon Network for several seasons. One of the most subtle adult jokes was found under Ed's bed, as the characters were surrounded by wadded-up balls of tissue. For anyone who lived with a teenage boy, you know what that means. Hey, Arnold! Hey Arnold is a fairly innocent show, but there are still subtle adult jokes that were still pretty inappropriate. For example, take Helga Pataki, who had a massive crush on Arnold to the point where she writes about how he makes her girlhood tremble. Rocko's Modern Life. For anyone who watched Rocko's Modern Life, we can all agree that it was one of the edgier shows on Nickelodeon because of the violence. But what most of us don't know is that the show had a plethora of sexual jokes, from Dr. Bendova to slugs looking at pornographic magazines to Rocko being a sex operator. Many of these jokes just went over our heads as kids. Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes is one of the most iconic cartoons of all time, but the show made a ton of references to jokes of suicide, more specifically, references to blowing your brains out with a gun. Perhaps this is why some kids take death so lightly. The jokes are meant to be funny as kids, but adults probably weren't so amused. Well, we hope we ruined your childhood just a little bit, or at least maybe made it a little bit more exciting. Feel free to subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, and check out our main page. Never done your laundry? I do the laundry. Now he's gonna wash your favorite clothes. No. What she doesn't know is that we already taught him to do laundry. In addition to detergent, most absurd things billionaires have bought. A pigeon. Chinese billionaire Hu Zhenyu bought a Dutch pigeon at an auction for nearly $329,000. Pigeons are typically seen as rats with wings infested with fleas and diseases, as well as being found in numerous places around the world. But Dutch pigeons have become popular in racing, and Yu spent the money so that he could breed the pigeon. A watch. Typically, watches are already an expensive purchase. Master watchmakers are a rarity these days thanks to the innovations of digital timepieces. However, watchmaker Patek Philippe spent 8 years crafting an expensive watch, which would eventually sell for $100 million to an anonymous buyer. Whether or not the purchase is worth it, only time will tell. Multiple mansions. Larry Ellison is so filthy rich that he actually owns 8 different mansions and decides which one to sleep in each night. He's worth about $43 billion thanks to his role as CEO for the software company Oracle. One of the 8 mansions is also the largest mansion in $1 billion, and he has spent a considerable amount of money trying to debunk Al Gore's claims about climate change. But with a hot air tour that stops in cities all over the United States as a way to show that climate change is full of hot air. This is where we're supposed to laugh. Gold plate plane. The Sultan of Brunei, Hassan al-Bolkiah, is worth around $40 billion, leaving his bank vulnerable to frivolous purchases. Most wealthy people own a small private jet with some luxuries, but Bolkiah actually bought a jumbo jet and had several parts of the inside plated with gold, like the tub and wash basin. The plane by itself cost around $400 million, and taking out the gold cost another $120 million. Pet trust fund. Queen of Bean, Leona Helmsley, cut her grandchildren out of her will and made her Maltese, named
Trouble, the inheritor of a trust fund, which is valued at $12 million. After Helmsley's death, the money was spent on guards for the dog, as well as being transported in a stretch limo. A judge eventually cut Trouble's inheritance to only $2 million, with the rest of the money going to charity. A yacht. The Eclipse is the world's second largest private yacht, measuring over 536 feet long. Russian billionaire Roman Abramovich paid well over $380 million to become the newest owner of the Eclipse. The purchase alone is absurd, especially considering that Abramovich also owns a private island, so who knows what he's doing with all that extra space. Virgin Galactic. Richard Branson is the CEO of Virgin Enterprises. From record companies, airlines, phone networks, and more, Virgin seems to be slowly taking over the world, and Branson hopes that he can take over space as well. He has spent millions of dollars developing a way to go out into space for commercial space travel. Branson has also been selling seats for $200K to celebrities and millionaires on a concept that hasn't been released to the market yet, doubling the absurd purchase standard. Homeless. Nicholas Bergeron is worth about $2 billion for his work in investing in philanthropy. Since obtaining his mass wealth, he has also become a lavish spender. Technically, he is homeless. He's not living on the streets or anything, but instead, he spends his money living in luxury hotels. He could probably buy a mansion for the quarter of the cost of hotel expenses. But let's be honest, hotels are pretty fancy. We hope you enjoyed this video, as absurd as it was.
Rich people are dumb
Might
as
be able to
fuck.
find other videos you like. Don't forget to subscribe.
Following video takes a look at 10 of the largest and most terrifying sinkholes to exist on Earth. From China and Siberia to Sweden and the United States, there are numerous giant sinkholes that are swallowing the Earth and some that are growing at an alarming rate. 10 sinkholes swallowing the Earth. Solikamsk, Russia. Near the Ural Mountains in Russia is the mining town of Solikamsk. In November 2014, a 20-meter-wide sinkhole opened up in a populated area near the town. 10 months later, in September 2015, residents and officials were alarmed to see the sinkhole had expanded to over 120 meters wide and 80 meters deep. The hole has already consumed 20 holiday homes and looks set to swallow more as it continues to grow. What's caused this enormous problem? Experts aren't 100% sure, but they think it has something to do with the nearby mining operations. The Dead Sea sinkholes, Israel. Over the last few decades, people have noticed an increase in the number of sinkholes along the shore of the Dead Sea. Lowering water levels and overmining the area are said to have caused the erosion, which has led to thousands of small sinkholes. To date, the largest sinkhole is 40 meters wide and 25 meters deep. With the sinkholes growing at an alarming rate, experts fear that these sinkholes will collapse into each other and create a single massive sinkhole whose expansion will be unstoppable. The Heavenly Pit, China. Only discovered 20 years ago, the Heavenly Pit is truly one massive sinkhole. At 537 meters wide and up to 660 meters deep, this Chinese sinkhole is the world's deepest. It is also unique because it is two-tiered, kind of like a sinkhole within a sinkhole. During periods of heavy rain, waterfalls occur around the edge of the feature and a powerful underwater river continues to run through the area, suggesting this sinkhole will slowly but surely continue to grow over the years ahead. Guatemala City, Guatemala. When your city is built on volcanic ash and limestone, and you experience heavy rainfall every year, you can expect sinkholes. In 2007, a 100-meter-deep pit formed in the city, only to be followed up in 2010 by another 20-meter-wide pit which destroyed an intersection and swallowed a 3-story building. Heavy rainfall and the inability to deal with it at all efficiently means the ground underneath the city is a disaster waiting to happen. Bayou Corn Sinkhole, Louisiana. In 2012, NASA researchers noticed that an area of ground the size of 19 football fields near Bayou Corn, Louisiana, suddenly shifted over 2 feet before beginning to sink. In August 2012, a sinkhole 2 acres appeared where the disturbance took place. Over time, the hole expanded and grew to be over 25 acres. It turns out, natural gas mining caused an underground collapse. Escaping natural gas and water eroded the ground, which led to this particular Louisiana sinkhole that continues to grow. The Fabian Pit sinkhole. By now you've probably been able to figure out that mining can lead to the creation of rather large sinkholes. In northern Sweden, in the Malmberget area, the
giant sinkhole opened up and expanded right before their eyes. Starting out small, the hole expanded 150 meters wide by 150 meters deep. Residents reported the ground often shook around the sinkhole as if an earthquake was occurring. Experts and residents have been quick to point out the link between the local mining operation and the hole. Sharon Springs Sinkhole, Kansas. Even in some of the more remote locations, Mother Nature springs a surprise and opens up a sinkhole for no apparent reason. In western Kansas in 2013, the sinkhole 2/3 the size of a football field suddenly opened up and became a field. At 60 meters across and 27 meters deep, the hole became an instant tourist attraction. What puzzled officials was that there had been no mining or geological disturbances to cause the sinkhole. Nonetheless, the hole has expanded over 70 meters across, and cracks in the ground suggest it could keep expanding for some time. Berezhniki Sinkholes, Russia. Just south of Solikamsk and its massive growing sinkhole is the Russian mining town of Berezhniki. Berezhniki's problem is that it doesn't just have one sinkhole, but several which are growing. In fact, heavy mining and the eroding soil mean that Berezhniki could be potentially sitting on one giant sinkhole if things keep going the way that they are. Residents have tried to fix the erosion, but the holes only continue to grow, and the officials fear that more are on their way. Marifong Sinkhole, South Africa. In February 2014, during a night of heavy rain, a sinkhole appeared near Marifong, South Africa. Initially, the sinkhole was 18 meters wide and 25 meters deep, just big enough to sever a major roadway and cause massive detours while officials tried to fix the damage. A year later, and the sinkhole remains, it continues to widen thanks to poor soil conditions combined with rainwater erosion. To make matters even worse, more sinkholes have appeared in the area, cutting off water supplies and roadways as the land gets swallowed up faster than it can get repaired. Yamal, Russia. The Yamal Peninsula in Russia's far north has seen quite a lot of sinkhole activity lately. Capturing the interest of experts is a very large and very deep sinkhole which recently appeared. The sinkhole in question is 80 meters wide and at least 50 meters deep. At first glance, it's strange looking because it looks like it exploded outwards instead of sinking inwards. Officials believe that recent drilling and mining in the area has caused natural gas to force its way to the surface, causing explosions. In this instance, the hole is currently filling with water and dozens of other sinkholes have appeared around the original, causing concern that they could combine into a much larger sinkhole. Thanks for watching this video. Check out our main page for more videos like this one and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.
This Cruise LTZ offers an EPA estimated 38 mpg highway.
Nice. That's more than my car. Perfect.
Wow, that's impressive.
You ready to go for a ride?
Anyway.
All right.
Whatever happened to doing things for real? Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 worst green screen effects in movies.
So this is where you hang out.
For this list, we'll be looking at the movie sequences on the big screen that filmmakers created using chroma key effects, whether it was a green screen, a blue screen, or some other color, with disastrous results. However, we won't be including indie films like The Room, movies like Shark Attack 3 and Megalodon, or movies that predate the 1980s, like Dr. No, as the effects that were available to them were not on par with the films that made the list. As we'll be showing big moments from several of the films we're featuring, a spoiler alert is probably in order. Come and get it. Number 10, Ejector Seat, Die Hard 2, Die Harder.
How many grenades we got?
How could filmmakers possibly up the ante on the high-octane action scene in the original Die Hard? While they came up with some interesting ideas, things didn't always end up entirely convincing, especially as the film aged. The worst offender is a scene where John McClane must escape an airplane that's about to explode via ejector seat. While the sequence is undoubtedly riveting, the effects are not. Willis was shot in front of a blue screen, where he was attached to a machine that rotated him again and again, with some fancy camera work adding to the effect.
Willis grimaces admirably, but the effort to superimpose that image over that of a previously exploded plane let him down. Number 9. Muppet Dance, Labyrinth. We loved this Jim Henson flick as kids. But when we grew up and took off our rose-colored glasses, we saw some flaws. Case in point, the uncomfortable effects used in this song and dance sequence featuring the Fireys. Because Muppets are puppets and don't actually move on their own, filmmakers needed to find a way to hide the puppeteers who were maneuvering them. Because it was the 80s and blue/green screen technology was not as advanced as it is today, they dressed the puppeteers in black and draped the background in black velvet, so it looked like the monsters were singing, dancing, and removing body parts on their own. However, the result was a bit of a mess, with Fireys seemingly floating all over the place. Number 8. Dropping by, Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. For the first 3 big-screen Star Trek outings, effects geniuses Industrial Light and Magic had brought things to life. But they were busy with Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade and Ghostbusters 2 when The Final Frontier was in production. So filmmakers hired a lesser-known, less expensive team and completed as many effects as possible in camera. A glaring issue left in the film was the shot of Shatner scaling El Capitan in Yosemite and falling, only to be caught by Spock and his trusty levitating boots. Shatner was filmed falling in front of a blue screen, with shots of Yosemite later edited in, but the end result is a classic blue screen blunder if ever we've seen one.
Perhaps because it is there, it is not sufficient reason for climbing around, and I'm hardly in a position to disagree.
Number 7. Tsunami Surfing, Die Another Day. Made in an era when filmmakers had begun to increasingly rely on digital effects, this 20th entry in the James Bond franchise fell victim to the more is less rule. The scene in question sees Bond trying to escape a giant wave created by the Icarus satellite by kite surfing his way around glaciers and more. With Pierce Brosnan filmed in front of a blue screen and the computer-generated glaciers and wave added later, the CGI effects took roughly a year to perfect. However, instead of being an exciting action sequence, the tsunami scene lends this otherwise awesome moment a cartoonish feel that defeats the purpose, meaning that this scene had us laughing instead of on the edge of our seats. Number 6. Hanging Around, Batman and Robin. Dubiously set in a Gotham City that was riddled with neon, Batman and Robin relied heavily on visual effects, using 450 in total, which was roughly 150 more than Batman Forever. Director Joel Schumacher reminded his actors before every take that the movie they were making was, quote, a cartoon. And that set the tone for this motorcycle chase and its laughable chroma key climax, where Dick Grayson saves Barbara Gordon from certain doom high above the city.
So this is where you hang out.
Though it may not be the most laughable effect of the film, the keyed-in background does not seem in sync with Alicia Silverstone as she hangs perilously from great heights. No wonder this movie killed the Batman franchise. Number 5. Jeep Chase, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Indiana Jones is a high-profile action franchise known for its stunts, but his first film appearance in 19 years did not do the beloved character justice. Steven Spielberg made it clear before production began that this newest entry would use as little CGI as possible.
Shut up, Indy! Shut up, Indy! You stupid son of a bitch!
Well, practicality and computer-generated animals seemingly won out over artistic integrity, and lots of CGI and fake-looking green screen effects ended up in the final edit.
in the film is the climactic chase through the jungle, which involves CGI trees and animals, a cheesy high-speed sword fight, and green screen that looks bafflingly off. You'd think guys like Spielberg and George Lucas would have this kind of thing down by now.